Are we live? There we go. I think we're back. Sorry about that. Not sure why that happened. Get back to the bench. Maybe it limits my time I'm allowed to stream because I'm not a big YouTuber. All right, back to work here. Get this bed off of here. We're going to reuse the circuit board heating element part of it and probably leave the magnet on there, but we're going to use the new surface. Surface is great. I'm not sure if YouTube limits the stream length because I don't have any subscribers or viewers or anything. I'm just streaming to the void here. That may be what happened. All right, set this guy aside, save him for later. Take this X carriage off. I'm sorry, Y carriage, why do I keep calling things the wrong things? Loosening up this tensioning bracket. Slide that in and we'll pop the belt off. We will actually take it off. Oh, I forgot to hit record. Record this. We're just stripping down the ender. This will go in the box. Box O parts. And I'm going to take the stepper off of here while I'm right here. I don't think we're going to use it, but now just to be clear, the Enderwire is not the best printer in the world. There are probably better ways to spend your money. Think all in. An Ender is going to run you 150, 200 bucks for a used one on Marketplace. I think they're 200 or whatever new. I don't know why people want so much for them used. It's kind of crazy to me when you can get a brand new Bamboo Labs A1 bed wiring issues aside for 250 bucks. I don't know why somebody would spend the same 250 bucks on an Ender, but you do you, right? Well, like I said at the beginning of this stream, I bought this at Micro Center. Their $100 coupon, so it was 100 bucks. It's a pretty good price since you can't get a used one for that. And then I want to say the Siboor kit was about $350. So if you're wanting to build a printer from scratch, I think the way I did this is probably about as cheap as you're going to get. Definitely for a Voron. You're not going to find any other kits that cheap. I think even in general, the only like really cheap home-built 3D printer that I can think of is the Rook. And I want to say those kits are about $350 also, but they are designed to be cheap, not designed to be great. In the box. Now, I believe that we reuse this. I think I have to take these wheels off. If I remember correctly. Use this. I just really like building printers. It seems to have become my new hobby. It's 3D printers and printing projects and whatever. I don't really like to print frivolous things. I like to print things that have a purpose. So I really dig building printers. Helps me learn more about them, how they work. Gets me used to the workflow. As I've gotten more and more involved, I've done a little bit more in CAD. So I'm starting to learn, not that Tinkercad's the best way to learn, but learning some of that workflow. Always be learning. Something my dad used to tell me. To learn something every day. But anyways, this Enderwire is a capable printer. It's reasonably quick. It prints well. It's a lot of fun to build. Not a lot of fun to enclose, but a lot of fun to build. So if I have, we'll call it 450 in this machine, two of these can get you a V2.4 kit, which is a way more capable machine. I was actually able to, the 2.4 kit I have was on clearance from Matter Hackers a while back. Kind of a flash sale. They didn't really announce it. I was on a different stream and somebody popped into the stream and said, hey, if anybody wants one of these, they're currently on clearance on Matter Hackers. I think it was 600 bucks. Super killer deal. I don't believe we're going to use any of this extruder stuff, so that also goes in the bucket. Go a little wider here. All right, I get these rubber feet off of here. We're gonna make sure all this stuff is square. But I think this is a good project for me because I just really like building printers. So I think I have that 2.4 kit to build. And definitely looking forward to it. I've had it on the shelf for a while here. But I had a lot of fun building my first Enderwire. I have a lot of fun building this one. It's kind of a... There's a separate chat room in the Voron Discord specifically for Enderwire people, and it's kind of a running joke in there that people always comment not to buy an Ender just to build an Enderwire. It's not worth it. And while it may not be the best use of your 3D printer dollars, I think it's still a perfectly fine printer. You get to learn a ton and have some fun doing it. So if you can afford it, I encourage you to buy an Ender and build an Enderwire, because it's probably the cheapest way you're going to get the experience of building one of these, especially if you can find a deal on a used one. Look for one that's not that's broken or something, not working, because you're not going to break an extrusion, and realistically that's all you're going to use off of this thing. Extrusion, one of the steppers, the board. But if you figure it's $10 for a stepper and $30 for a board, I don't know, maybe $100 isn't bad for all of the pieces you need. Plus then you get a bunch of spare parts to start your next printer build with. That's the other running joke, that every time you have an extra part, that's the start of another printer. Anybody pop back on here? Yeah, we got somebody watching me. Hello, whoever's watching me. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with these extra printer parts too. There's plans for filament extruder machines. Make your own filament using old hot ends. There's all sorts of projects you can do with these little roller V wheels. A lot of heat set insert presses use just a piece of extrusion and V wheels. That's something you can do. I'm not sure what you would do with a board other than put it in a 3D printer. Something 3D printer related. I guess you could use it in whatever that filament recycler extruder thing is. I don't think I'm super interested in building one of those though. You never know, maybe one day. Just seems like a lot of work for $20 spool of filament. I think my wife just got home early. Pardon me for a minute, I'm gonna go make sure she's okay. Alright, I'm back. Ears must have been playing tricks on me. I did not see her. Oh, you know what I bet it was? Bet you I got an Amazon delivery. Go back to my headshot real quick. The orange switch wire here, when I built that, it was someone else's project. So it was very old. It had been sitting in a closet for a while. It was a project that the guys started back when the switchwire first came out, like back in like 2020 or so. So it had a whole bunch of old parts. I had to reprint everything because it was all printed and I don't know, it looked like the guy printed it all out of PETG, which is not great for printer parts, especially parts that get hot. But it had a LGX extruder on it, and it was set up for afterburner, so it had an afterburner tool head. So I found a mount that would work for stealth burner with the LGX extruder and the afterburner tool head board. but the Bondtech, after not very long, decided it didn't like its drive gear in one piece, so it split it in half. And I had ordered Galileo 2 just came out, planetary extruder. I had ordered a couple of those. I knew I wanted to use one on the 2.4 that I have coming up. Wasn't sure what I was going to do with the other one, but figured if I was ordering one, I might as well order two. So I printed out parts for that and got that running, but now my afterburner tool head board doesn't work. Doesn't fit quite right. That's why it's a mess of wiring, as you can see. So I hopped on Amazon, and I haven't played with CAN yet. I know switch wire isn't the ideal use for a CAN board, but it was one of the only boards that I could get next day shipping. Everything else would have been next week sometime. So I ordered a Big Tree Tech CAN board for it. I think that just showed up. Actually, I should probably go get that from the front porch. Pardon me one more time. Well, looks like that wasn't it either. Not here yet. So I don't know what that was. But I've got another project now. Redoing the wiring and the switch wire that I just finished. And setting up CAN. Now, if anybody's watching this that doesn't know, I am been an auto tech my entire life. I am very well versed in CAN bus, but not on a 3D printer. I have no idea how to configure one. My only experience is troubleshooting them when something bad occurs in your vehicle, and typically that's due to either a failed module or a bad wire. So even though I understand how they work and have experience working with them, this will be basically all new to me. Yeah, this adhesive does not want to come off of here very well. Get the bulk of it off and hit it with some IPA. So whoever's watching me, I'm assuming that's you, Chris. Say something in chat. Otherwise I feel like I'm just talking to myself here. Which, I mean, I can do, but not ordinarily a very talkative person, so talking to myself is kind of weird for me. Now this is riveting content, watching me scrape adhesive. I bet you I know what the noise I heard was. I've kind of set up a little workshop slash studio thing in my garage here. Sounds like my neighbors are in their garage. I live in a townhouse, so we share a wall. All right, let's get some IPA going. And rag. Takes it off. I'm not sure if that's doing anything. I don't think it is. Maybe a little bit. So going back to what I had said at the top of this stream about the printer that I'm building, I'm going to try and use whatever components came in the Siboor kit. It'll be used kind of as a build guide for that Siboor kit. I know I said I made some changes to the printed parts, but I don't think, we'll have to see once I get to that tool head. I don't know how different that tool head is. But nothing that I made changes to. The changes are basically cosmetic. Nothing's going to change the way the kit functions, so should be fine. I know there's plenty of people out there that have already built these and done kits, and I think ModBot's currently building one of these. This kit exactly. Steve Builds has done a bunch of underwire conversions too, I think. So I don't know that the world needs another underwire conversion video, but like I said, I have fun building these. Figured if I'm building them, might as well share it with people. Different perspective is always nice, right? I'm also not saying I'm going to do this the exact perfect way, because everybody else I've seen build one of these has way more experience than I do. Man, I'm just making a mess of this stuff. Gotta get it off of there, though. Wish I had a little bit of goo gone or something. Unfortunately, I don't.
Can you feel my heartbeat?
Sorry, Chris, I just saw your chat there. I still had it up from the stream that timed out, so sorry about that. Wasn't live. Now, there is a way for me to pop out my viewers too. I don't know how to do that. Whatever. We'll roll with it. How's work going today? You guys super busy? I'm not sure why that first stream ended the way it did. The only thing I can think of, this is because I'm not big time YouTuber, there might be a time cap on how long it lets me stream for, but I think the last one I did was a couple hours, so I'm not sure. Not sure why that ended like that. Well, that's good. Thought Matt said you guys had a whole bunch of appointments today.
Can you feel my heartbeat?
Alright, well I think that's about as good as I'm going to get that. Alright. Now that that's done, we need to make sure this is square. get my 1, 2, 3 blocks out. You can really use anything that's square to make sure these are square. But the more in tune you can get your components, the better you're going to be in the long run. Easier it'll be to tune. Most of this stuff you can calibrate for in Clipper. That's why it's such a powerful piece of hardware. I don't know if you can see this or not, but got a little bit of light there. Means these two components are not square. We're going to base that Y. We're going to base the Y squareness off of this center bar, so that center bar's got to be square. Check this side. That side is square. Just this one, we're going to loosen these up. Can't get them a little bit better. There we go. Loosey-goosey, I can move it around. I need to make sure that we are flat against the plate. That's why we build on one of these plates. And as I tighten these, hopefully this will stay square. And draw it in evenly. Everything in a 3D printer is built off of X, Y, and Z movements, right? Well, the only way for your X, Y, and Z movements to be true X, Y, and Z movements is if they're square to each other. Otherwise, you're moving in combination of axes every time you move. Like I said, there's ways to account for that in Clipper, but better to not have to do that. Alright, before I go crazy there, let's check this again. Better. They're not, but I think we are better. And we're also flat across the top and bottom. This side looked good. And like I said, we're not going to do heat set inserts right now. Back. Computer. We'll do heat set inserts as soon as we get the frame done. Ooh, we have to tap extrusions. Looks like all of mine are tapped. Can't see that. Let's go back to the bench top. See that? They have threads in them. So I don't believe I have to tap anything. Threads. Now, while I have this here, yeah, it's really not that bad. You just got to figure it out, Chris. While I have this here, I should say that, oh, I forgot what I was going to say. Couldn't have been that important then, right? We are going to have to move this forward. I think that's the next step. So back to the computer. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Go back to the bench top. So there are Creality made enders for quite a while, and they went through quite a few revisions. The ones that I bought have this 40/40 extrusion in the center. They also made one with a 20/40 extrusion, and there's a different kit, not a different Siboor kit, but there's a different build. Like at the top of this, I said that Dark Dog and Triano kind of designed this conversion. I think the Triano version was for the 20/40 extrusion, not the 40/40 extrusion. The Siboor kit, I believe, is specifically for the 40/40 extrusion. So if you have a different Ender 3 with a different Y extrusion, just keep in mind that you might have to make some changes. Chris, I think yours is a 40/40 extrusion, so you should be good if this is something you wanted to do to yours. Back to the quick. All right, so we don't have to tap. Now we're going to be working with the frame. So this, like it shows here, we have to move this extrusion forward. That's just, it is because the way it is. So there's two T-nuts that we're going to slide into the extrusion, and we're going to put the front 2 bolts into the back 2 holes, and then we're going to add 2 bolts into those T-nuts. That is what we're doing next. So technical issues aside, how is my stream quality? Kinda been quite a process. I put in a lot of effort to make sure I had appropriate camera angles and good audio and stuff. Do I come across all right? Hopefully I do. Tried to color balance everything so that the different cameras appeared all right. I'm just going to kind of snug these a little bit because remember I still need to square this axis. And I need some hardware from the kit. I'll get the kit out here. Need two M5 by 30s. Got M5 by 30s. These guys here. And then I need two M5 T-nuts. I'll show you how these work. These guys, you just kind of slide in. Actually, I think you can roll them in. I haven't actually used these. I've only ever used the hammer style nuts. Yeah. Oh, those are super loose though. Wow. I don't think they're supposed to be that loose. I mean, they're gonna work, but yikes. Let's attempt to square this guy. How am I going to do this? I need to tighten from this side. I can do this. Try this. And then we'll check it. Perfect. Check this backside. Oh yeah, we are golden. All right. Let's crank these guys down. Ta-da! Double check that we're still good. We appear to still be good. Back to the computer. All right, so that's what we just did. Now what are we doing? Why are we doing that? Why are we turning those into blind joints? I don't know why we're doing this. Well, I mean, it says to. Well, that's awkward. I just squared them up. Oh, I see why we're doing this. Because we're moving the rail. Actually, I don't know why we're doing it. I don't believe my other one's like that. But all right, we do what it says. Back to the bench top, see what's going. All right, now this says we need 2 M5 by 10s. Get our hardware kit out. We got M5 by 10. And it wants the blind joint in these two holes. So what we're doing is we're gonna basically taking the fastener from here, putting it in here. So we're gonna screw those down a little bit so they slide in the channels. Slide this back in place. Not 100% sure why we're doing this, but Oh, I see. Wait. We're moving this back. It's going to be in these holes. Wait, then how do we tighten? How do we tighten the blind joints? No. I really don't know why we're doing this. Does not make any sense to me. Because then you can reach through here and tighten those other two screws down with the hole there. And then do we have to do that to both sides or just one side? Like just one side. It only calls for one side. All right. Now we have to, normally you would move on to the rails, but we have to install our uprights. And I don't believe we use any of these holes. We can just install these however. So working on my plate here is going to keep them flat this way. And we only have to worry about the angle back and forth as far as making them tram. Tram the right word? I don't think tram's the right word. Square? Square is the right word. Still streaming, so that's good. I'm just going to snug these up and then get the 1, 2, 3 blocks back out. You can use a regular square for this as well. I just happen to have some precision 1, 2, 3 blocks, so. But you could use square. This is just a cheapy Harbor Freight square. It is square. I have checked it, but I trust my 1, 2, 3 blocks more than this, so that's what I'm going to use. So I'm just pushing the 1, 2, 3 blocks into the angle and then holding everything down against the table while I tighten. I know it's kind of hard. And then we'll check everything before we move on to the other side. Alright, so we are flush. We are square that way. You'll have to take my word for it. This way I think you'll be able to see. We're square that way. And they're square that way. Now the other side. Hey Chris, you still there, buddy? I think it's about lunch. I work with Chris. It's about lunchtime, so might be grabbing lunch. And I've been streaming for 2 hours. I don't even have the frame together yet. Check this real quick. We are good there. We are good there. And you'll have to take my word for it, but we are also good there. Now let's do... Okay. And This one I'm gonna do. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna reuse some of this other hardware and blind joint these like we did the other ones, because I don't feel like getting the hardware kit out. And just checking the square. Looks like there was a little bit of bow in these extrusions. I don't know if you saw me having to push it out a little bit. Oh, moved again. Good. I'm just gonna snug these and then we'll check it. No reason to rush through this. This is I mean, like I was saying, I spent, I don't know, I did this cheaper than most probably, and I spent $400 on this project. Sit back and enjoy it. No reason to fly through this thing just to get it done. Make sure you're doing it right. Take pride in your work. No reason to fly. And we are square. We are square. These are twisted just a little bit, which I don't love. Try and fix that. Love them cheap extrusions, right? Let's do this for there. Grab the other block and put it like that. Hold everything in line while I... Oh, that's better. That's much better. I lied. I lied. Maybe a little extra hard because I decided to make these blind joints instead. All right, I think we're good now. are a little twisted on this guy as well. Try and fix that real quick. This was kind of my plan for this channel was as a kid growing up, I always looked forward to, a lot of kids looked forward to Saturday morning cartoons. I was always a fan of Power Block TV, Saturday morning car shows. Thought it was a great way to spend your morning, just relaxing on the couch, having your juice, a bowl of cereal, watching people build stuff. So that was kind of my idea with this channel is mornings on weekends, sit back, have a cup of coffee, hang out, build a printer. Hence the G-code and grounds. Cheesy. And this kit will print faster than stock Ender. Yes. Fast isn't everything though. There's a lot of reasons why this is better than a stock Ender. You give me 1 minute to finish this part, we can spend a little bit of time looking at my other one. What are you guys eating for lunch today? Ooh, big fan of chili. The decent chili at least. Good. Let me finish this up and I'll see if I can go mobile and show you some stuff on my other switch wire. If you got questions. Last time I tried to go mobile, the camera froze and I had to reboot everything, but we'll give it a shot. Oh yeah, right on the money. What I like to see. All right, let's go back to the headshot. All right. I really don't want to try and move the camera. I don't think it's gonna work out too well for me. I guess what I can do is print something and show you how quick it goes. I have used Cura almost exclusively up to this point in my 3D printing journey. But Chris printed some parts for me the other day on his new Bamboo, and I was super jealous of the print quality. So I started looking into things that I could do to improve print quality. And one second here. So this was what came out of Cura on that exact switch wire with those exact settings. It's not bad. Just a little box that I was making. But you can see all those layer lines, right? I was complaining about those the other day because they were showing up on some of the printed parts I made. Well, after Chris had showed me printed off one of the exact parts that I made in Bamboo, it kind of got me thinking, like there's no reason, I thought I was having extruder issues on this, but there's no reason I should be. So I got to thinking maybe it was the slicer. So last night I was playing around and I downloaded Orca Slicer, and this is what I got. The layer lines are way better. I mean, there's still some there, but they are way better. So I may have just converted from Cura. But I can run one of these off real quick and let you see how quick it goes, I guess. Actually, I should have it already run off. I just have to pull it up. Might get a little loud. I haven't tuned my audio for this. Yeah, it is crazy. I was not expecting it at all. I don't know what the difference is between Cura and Orca Slicer, but yeah, huge difference in print quality. This one, like, you can barely see the layer lines. This is PLA, not ABS, and this was on the orange one, but like that surface finish is like glass. I was shocked, to say the least. So I spent last night going through and getting all my printers configured in Orca Slicer and kind of trying to learn my way around. Yeah, so like Chris is saying, $350 is what the Siboor kit is. Take a peek on AliExpress as well as their website. One of them, if I remember correctly, was cheaper than the other. One had free shipping, which came out cheaper. So just take a peek. All right, so I just started this printing. It is warming up. We'll just take a breather here for a minute while this thing goes so we can watch it print. I was definitely shocked at the difference. When I printed the first one, I like literally could not believe it. And like I spent a decent amount of time trying to get that profile tuned in right too. I have no idea what in that profile was causing those crazy layer lines, but this was the first one that I printed with Orca Slicer. You can see how much better that looks. But I did have, if you look at this corner, there's some weird extrusion lines there. I don't know if you can't see it here. Like looking through the light, like it's definitely under extruded in those corners. I didn't have my pressure advance tuned correctly. Well, I thought about getting the A1, but I'd like to make stuff instead of keep buying. Yeah, I mean, I love building printers. I have a ton of fun just building the machines. The only I was considering an A1, but only for multi-material. I don't really want to spend $1,300 for like a full X1 with an AMS or however much it is. But I am interested in multi-material. So I was interested in the A1 with the AMS light just for doing, you know, different colors, different filaments. But for $500, like, I don't know. The A1 Mini with the AMS you can get super cheap, but then you're limited to your size. It's got a real small bed on it. And I really like building this stuff. There are a couple multi-material projects, like open source projects that you can build out there. But in my opinion, they're all complicated and over my head. I don't think I'm quite ready for those builds yet. Bed's almost up to temp. Then they'll start cooking in a minute. some of the reasons to do this over regular Ender 3. Oh yeah, I like the X1 but have no frame of reference other than the Ender, and I don't think that's a fair comparison. It is definitely not a fair comparison. They're completely different machines at vastly different price points. Also, when did the Ender 3 come out? They are from vastly different time periods. March 2008, so 6 years ago, the first Ender 3 came out. So you got 6 years of technology between the two. One's a boat and tube extruder bed slinger, and one's a direct drive Core XY enclosed monster. I mean, you can do this to an Ender also, but probably the biggest difference between this guy and a regular Ender 3 is Clipper. Clipper is kind of game changing. It's like your software is for like your Bamboo Studio with your app and all that. That's kind of what Clipper is, but Clipper's not locked down. You can do kind of whatever you want with it. Another benefit to having this over an Ender is it's direct drive, so the extruder's in the tool head instead of on the stuck to the back here. So you can, it's easier to tune. You can print flexibles. This also has way better parts cooling than a stock Ender. There's a lot of mods you can do to a stock Ender to improve part cooling, and the stealth burner does not have the best part cooling in the world. This tool head's a stealth burner, but it's way better than stock Ender part cooling. They look cool. After you finish, it's enclosed, so you can print, ABS and ASA and things like that. So that's a big benefit. And in order to enclose an Ender, you kind of like have to put it inside of a box instead of building a box onto the printer, if that makes sense. You'd basically stick the whole printer in a box to enclose it, whereas here the enclosure is part of the printer. I love the Ender. It has done me super well, got me hooked. Yep. That printer has performed way better than it had any right to perform for you. So, congratulations, you got a good one. You've had less problems with that printer than I had with my first printer, that's for sure. All right, we're heating up the hot end now, and this thing should start cooking soon. Because you tuned it up, to be honest. I mean, yes and no. Any printer is going to benefit from a good tune. That's kind of besides the point, though. Just the kinds of prints that you just kept the oil changed. Yeah. The kinds of prints that you were turning out with it, though, are prints that probably shouldn't have. They shouldn't have been able to happen on that printer. Very intricate prints that Enders in general would have had a tough time with. All right, so we're homing. Now we're doing a bed mesh. Okay, so that's another benefit over a stock ender is this is gonna be able to do a bed mesh for you, so it can compensate for any discrepancies in your build plate. Now you can add that to a regular, like a lot of this stuff you could add to an ender as well, but by the time you add up all those little things, like, it starts to make sense to do a kit instead. This has linear rails. See, it's got a rail that goes across, and it's got 2 rails that go up there. There's also 2 rails for the bed. We're going to tackle those, I think, next on the one that I'm building today. But linear rails are better than V-wheels for the most part. The V-wheels in your stock ender need constant maintenance to keep proper tension on them. They wear down. They make a lot of like dust. If you look at the rails on your ender from these going back and forth in the V grooves here, they make dust. Hey, what's up, Austin? How you doing? Thanks for joining me. Chris had some questions about why to make one of these out of an ender, like what the benefits were. So he specifically asked about speed, so I just fired up a print and we're gonna watch it cook for a minute before I get back here. Thanks for coming to hang out with me. It's weird streaming to nobody because I'm just sitting here talking to myself, and I don't know if you noticed, but I'm not the most social person in the world. This thing's just finishing up its bed mesh now. Now we're gonna start cooking. Doing the skirt. I had 2 massive failures on the X1 using PLA, was trying to make a sign for the wall and it kept bending an edge after like 2 hours. So did you have the door open or closed? PLA needs a lot of cooling, and if the chamber temperatures are too high, it doesn't matter how much air you blast it with if the air is too hot. So keep the door open when you're printing PLA. I don't know if that has a top door as well. It doesn't because it's got the AMS on top. Another thing is when you print, prints don't like sharp edges. They like round edges. Sharp edges have a tendency to curl. And once it starts to curl, it'll just keep curling. A rounded edge tends to stick to the bed better. It distributes the force evenly instead of having a pressure point. So this thing's cooking right now on the first layer. It should ramp up quite a bit after that. And then I can play with the speed a little bit in Clipper to show you like how fast it will go. Okay, so it's a model that you made. Try and make a round edge instead of a, no. Yeah, try and make a rounded edge on it instead of a sharp edge. If it was a sharp, like 90-degree corner, those are really hard to keep stuck down just in general. Oh yeah, she's cooking pretty good. I don't know if you can hear that. Is that really loud in my audio? Okay, good. Yeah, that thing's cooking pretty quick though. I'd say that's faster than an ender would go, right? It's pretty loud here sitting next to it. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't coming through on the mic. This is just doing the layers. Once it gets up into the sides, it'll speed up a little bit too. believe, I'll have to take a peek next time it speeds up, but I believe this is at about 200 millimeters per second. Which should be, I'd have to look it up, but that should be about what the bamboo does. And like once you get much faster than that, you're not really limited by how fast it's gonna move, you're limited by how fast you can squirt the plastic out. Because if the plastic coming out of the nozzle can't melt fast enough, it doesn't matter how fast the head's moving. Okay, good. Thanks, Austin. I haven't really ever tried to print while I was checking my audio, so. I'm seeing it pick up on my mic some. Hopefully it's not too awful, and this won't take too long. The print's cooking pretty quick, so. Oh yeah, and we're done with the base layers, so we're already up into the walls. Yes, that is a direct drive extruder. It's a stealth burner. That's the tool head that all of the Vorons recommend. This one is just a stock stealth burner. It's by the book, no funny business. This one has a different extruder in it. Yeah, the x-axis. Yeah, there's a little bit of a buzz there. I might have a loose panel or something that's buzzing when it moves. I also haven't run input shaper on it. Input shaper is specifically meant to get rid of vibration. So at some point I'll need to put an input shaper on it and check that out, and that should help some of that. Hunter wanted to print a CSGO switchblade knife thing, so we put it through the Ender since I was trying to get the sign to work. After the sign failed, I ran the knife through the X1 and made 2 of them in a quarter of the time. Now you're spoiled. Yeah. You got to start somewhere though, right? Like, I mean, you weren't going to buy a $1,500 printer right off the rip before you'd ever played with one, so. And now you get to have a whole nother project and have fun building it out into something else if you want. I'm actually going to slow this down a little bit. Yeah, we're like 120 millimeters per second. We're going to slow this down so it's not as loud. That should be better. Yeah, it's not a bearing. There's something rattling. I'm not sure what it is. The bearings are fine. Actually, I think that one of the motors is missing a screw, so that might be what the issue is there. The X1 makes great prints, definitely in my distant future. Yeah, there's no denying that. They're pricey though. I mean, the reason I haven't bought one is because I like to print printers, so. I want the printer you're making. Oh, make your own. Order the kit, print your parts. You can, that's kind of the fun of it, is you can make it however you want. Like I was showing you, let's go back to Tinkercad for a minute. That's what I wanted. Where's my Tinkercad? Oh, how come Tinkercad's not working? One second here. Bring up. I'm not sure why it's not coming up. Maybe it's not playing nice with Orca Slicer. There we go. There she is. That's kind of the nice thing about like making your own printers, though, is you can do whatever you want in Tinkercad and kind of make them your own. You can plan out your colors this way. You can install mods like these, the motor mounts or this tool head or whatever. Yeah, so I turned this down to 50% speed. Yeah, 50%. So it's going like 60 millimeters a second. I think that's still cooking faster than an Ender does. Yeah, I was kind of going for a Stormtrooper vibe with it. Originally, I wanted to do a gray one. I wanted black and gray accents. But I guess I ordered white filament instead of gray, so when it came in, I was like, well, looks like we're going to make it a Stormtrooper. Alright, well, we can go back to building while that's cooking, and I'll show you when it's done what it looks like. Alright, so we did that. We have this top installed. Let me make sure that I just tightened it down. And I gotta get a Stream Deck so I can make hotkeys for this stuff. Yeah, right? That'd be kind of cool doing a Boba Fett themed one that was like army drab, olive green, and maroon. I'll do that for my next one. I did find a really cool filament that was like a flat army green color. That'd be kind of cool. Just make them all Star Wars themed. All right. So we are on to linear rails. So I don't know the quality of these linear rails. Some linear rails come packed in, they call it shipping grease. Original Boba Fett was white and black. Yeah, yep. Rails out. We're going to take a peek at the quality of these real quick. And then we're going to clean them up and lube them. No, they don't feel too crunchy. They do have a weird lube on them though, so we are going to clean them off. I'm just going to open them all up and we're going to spend a couple minutes doing that. Actually, I think I'm going to go wash my hands before I start this too. Put some gloves on so I don't get nasty finger oils all over them. Nope, did I forget one of my blocks? Sure did. Alright, I will be right back. Hold tight. All right, I'm back. Hands washed, put some gloves on. You don't have to wear gloves for this, just am. All right, so if you don't know how these rails work, these little stops keep the rails from sliding off. You don't want to let the rails slide off if you're not ready for it. I am going to take the rails off very carefully so that the balls don't go everywhere. There you go. So basically, these are, focus, there we go. These are a linear bearing. So instead of ball bearings going in a circle, there's a channel inside of this block and the balls follow the channel. We're gonna just take some IPA, wipe these down. Get all that shipping grease off. And then I don't think I'm going to wipe down the bearing block. And then you can get this stuff at Harbor Freight, cheap. And this is what I use. I don't think this is the exact grease that Boron recommends, but this seems to work all right. And you just kind of squirt some onto the balls. And then I use a little screwdriver, kind of work it in. Zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna work it into the balls that you can see. And then we're gonna push the balls around through that little circuit. Try to at least. Not in focus. Focus. And then when all the balls have come around and we got clean balls, put some more lube on them and do them again. Some more grease. I don't know if you can see in there or not, but there's like a little wire that keeps those balls captured. Make sure that there's grease on all them balls. Get grease all through that bearing channel. Make sure it's all worked in. I know some of the big streamers tend to do this stuff off stream because it's not very exciting to watch, but this is just for funsies and I don't have that luxury, so you get to do it with me. Oh, see there, I had one pop out. Back in place. Gone around a couple times, so I think we're pretty good. And you got all that grease distributed. Pack the rest of it in on the top there and move to the other side. And do the same thing over here. Still getting used to the streaming thing, so you have to bear with me a little bit here. Watching what I'm doing instead of the video. I got 3 monitors and it seems like not enough. Austin, did you get your machine figured out yet? Whatever was going on with your firmware, G-code, bed leveling, whatever? Did you de-Austinize it? I'm busy trying to get the VO thing going and the honeydew list. Yeah, honeydew lists are a pain. If you want me to take a peek at it, bring it in. I gotta work next weekend, so I probably won't have time next weekend, but... Told you I'd look at it for you. I think we're pretty good here. Balls have been around a couple times. They look like they're pretty well lubed. Now, I'm gonna get the A1 Mini to hide in the work closet. And you can do that. Just gotta be super careful because the balls like to pop out like that. Just kind of use your finger to hold them in place. Oh, I lost one. Got her that time. If I don't get to it soon, I'll take you up on that. Need to get some more filament. All the fails are killing my spool, yeah. Welcome to the world of 3D printing. Alright, that is much smoother. What are the pieces going on the rails? Well, so we're cleaning and lubricating the rails. Oh, go wide again. The rails are what take the place of the V wheels on the stock Ender. They're a lot more stable than V wheels, and they don't need adjustment like V wheels do. V wheels also wear down and produce powder that kind of gums shit up in your printer. Linear rails don't do that. So they come with like a shipping oil on them that's just meant to prevent corrosion during shipping. Some rails come completely pre-lubed, but it's kind of good practice to lube them up before you use them. So I just took them apart and cleaned all the shipping oil off and put some decent, it's not the best grease in the world, but it should work. That's what I've used on the rest of my printers, and it's worked fine so far. Just making sure they're properly lubed so that we don't have problems in the future. And we're going to put these little stops back in so that they don't fall off. That one's done. So this is a boring part, I apologize. I'm going to be cleaning and lubricating rails for a little bit here. I should probably refill my coffee. Let me do that real quick and I will be right back. All right. I appreciate you guys popping in to hang out with me today. Other than that hiccup where I lost the stream for a little bit, seems to be going pretty well. My video look all right? Spent a lot of time trying to get good images. I think my audio should be halfway decent as well, but there's only so much I can do in a garage with equipment running. Oh, good, thank you. Transient printer groans. Yeah, well, the 3D printing channel, so I think some of that's to be expected. If you didn't hear a printer whirring away in the background, you'd wonder where you were. And that should be temporary as well. I was just running something off to show Chris how it's going to print when it's done. So what are you working on today, Austin? Said you got a honey-do list. And this rail's just gobbling up the grease. No one didn't use this much. I put a ton on to start there. Alright, they're starting to come out with grease on them now, so that's good. If this side's as hungry as the other side was. Alright, those got grease coming out of them too. Good. Love to see it. Perfect. Oh yeah. Nice and smooth. Some of this extra grease off of there. Because the grease doesn't actually need to be on the rails. It needs to be in the bearings, in the bearing block. Obviously you're gonna want, you know, a little thin film just to keep corrosion away from the rails. But that's not really what you're wanting to lubricate here. Just get the extra stuff off so I don't smear it all over the place while I'm handling it. Got 2 down. This is the boring part. Sorry, guys. Oh, we're just about done with that. Let's check in with this print real quick. Just chooching along pretty good. So the squares on the rails. So the squares on the rails are your bearings. The squares on the rails are what everything attached to. There are. We can go back to the CAD here for a second. Let me take these gloves off so I don't get schmoo all over my mouse. Go back to the CAD. How come you didn't show up again? There we go. So yeah, the bed attaches to rails. They got one on that side, one on that side. And if you look in here, there's a bearing block here, and that's what the bracket for the bed attaches to. And then you also have 2 rails for your Z, rail here and a rail here, with bearing blocks here and over here. And then on your X-axis, you also have a rail with a bearing block that your tool head attaches to. Yeah. It's what lets everything move. It's basically a linear bearing. So if you, like your ball bearings that you would normally see, you know, inside of your V wheel, or for the wheels of your car, or, you know, whatever you need to rotate, if you laid them, if you peeled it apart, like if you took this and cut it and peeled it apart, you would have a linear bearing. Well, the problem with a linear bearing is that once you run out of balls to roll over, you don't have anything left to roll over. So in a linear rail, when we were pushing those balls through the channels here, there's a channel inside. So when the balls finish on the rail, they go through a channel and back to the beginning. And that's what lets it move. Pretty sweet. They're not super cheap. Like, decent rails aren't cheap, and you need a bunch of them. So that's kind of one of the reasons to buy one of these kits is you can get a lot better deal on linear rails when you buy 1,000 of them than when you buy them piecemeal. So these 5 rails, if you were to buy, you know, good quality rails, it's probably going to run you close to $100. So that's, you know, a third the price of your kit is these linear rails if you were to piecemeal it by yourself. And then you also get, you know, all the stuff I showed at the beginning of the stream, a couple stepper motors and, you know, whatever else you got going on there. Grab this thing off of the print bed here. And see if you can hear this pop. Remember I was talking to you the other day about thermal expansion and contraction? Did you hear it? Good. Chris had questions about yeah, it's not the it's not necessarily the ABS cooling. It's probably because I put this on this cold work surface. It's probably the steel sheet cooling and contracting while the ABS is still hot instead of vice versa. If you just let this sit on your printer, it would be vice versa. It would be this cooling faster than the heat bed because there's more thermal mass in this plate. So this would cool faster. But yeah, that's kind of the point of these is that, you know, they expand and contract differently and then just pop off. And if you have one that's really stuck, you just bend it and it pops off. Yeah, pretty cool. Came out pretty nice too. Way better than those first ones I was printing. Huge difference there. Cura, Orca slicer. You are correct. No IPA there. I usually clean them before I print instead of after I print. I didn't put any down this time either. I just clicked print, but it probably doesn't matter now that the machines are enclosed. But the reason I was doing that is because I wanted to make sure there wasn't a bunch of dust and stuff on the bed. So. Typically did it before I printed instead of after. Yeah, look at all that schmoo that's coming off of these rails. While you clean them. Takes a while and it's a little boring. It's not going to hurt a thing, Chris. It's way better to be too clean than not clean enough. Like I said, I was in the habit of doing it before I started a print instead of after. I would typically click the print button, and while it's warming up, I would hit it with some IPA and wipe it down. IPA is cheap, and it's kind of cheap insurance. You're not going to hurt anything by using it. And like, what does this cost at Kroger? $2? Absolutely, I have a spray bottle IPA. What do you use? What card game you playing? Oh, cotton balls, Jesus. No, I keep a rag next to my printer. I just keep a cotton rag next to my printer and a spray bottle IPA. The hardcore edition, I don't know what that means. Tell the boy happy birthday. I appreciate you tuning in and chatting for a minute. I'll be here all day tomorrow too, hopefully. Yeah, I mean, that works too. What, one of the YouTubers that I watch, Steve Builds, he doesn't use a spray bottle. He just takes the big bottle of IPA, and instead of like peeling the foil off, they'll just poke a really small hole in the center of it and then use it like a squirt bottle. There's things like +10 and stuff. At 25 cards, your game is done. Yeah. Well, have fun. Have fun with the boy's birthday. You get a minute tomorrow, come check me out. I'll be here tomorrow too. I'll probably be here most of today also. Might have to take a little break when Priscilla gets home from yoga, but... Also, I should probably eat something at some point. Tend to get in the zone out here and forget about eating sometimes. They're coming out with lube on them. Hey Austin, before you dip, will you like my stream? Or are you gone already? Alright, we are coming out with grease on them. Exactly what I want to see. Extra grease off. Slam her home. Very nice. Good job, James. Pat myself on the back there. Three down, two to go. You guys got any other questions I can answer while I'm doing this? No, this isn't the most entertaining content. Yummy. Put all that stuff on there. And we are coming out with grease on them. All this extra off. Move to the other side. We're coming out with grease. Perfect. Got one more to do. Clean this up a little bit. And one more. There's a lot of crud on these rails. Glad I cleaned them. Grab a fresh paper towel here. Oh yeah, we're good now. Lots of grease coming out with them balls. Perfect. Oh yeah, we're good already. Man. Sweet. Good deal. Clean my tools up here. Done with you. Cap on the grease, we're done with you. Wipe the extra schmoo off of this. Slam her home. Go. All right, side quest done. Very nice. I like it a lot. Get rid of these gloves. Go back out. Now, head back over to instructions. All right, it says mind the carriage. The carriages are designed to slide along the rail easily. This unfortunately also includes sliding off the rails. Dropping the carriage likely irreparably damages it. That's because if you drop it, those balls will go flying. Nobody likes flying balls. That's why we were careful when we were putting those on, using my thumb to keep the balls in place as we slid them in. And that's why I put those little rubber stoppers back in there. This says earpods dying. Change them out real quick. Go. The left rail does not have a stopper in place to prevent the carriage from sliding off the rail. Some rails come with little plastic stop pins. You can leave that in the bottom in one place. Mark the location with some tape to draw your attention to it later. You can install the printed parts in the red box first, which you can effectively prevent the slider from falling off. Alright, so we need our first printed parts. Well, we need the printer frame as well. Printer frame. I want to try and slide this out a little bit. I hope you guys don't mind. A little bit better. And we need some printed parts. Now, I made a mistake and threw all of my printed parts into a giant bag, so I gotta go digging for these. And I think while I do that, I'm gonna organize a little bit. I need a box or two. Do I have any boxes kicking around, or did I throw them all out? I threw them all out. That's unfortunate. An empty box of gloves here. I think that'll probably work. Maybe. If I can get it out of here. Jeez, what are you caught on? No, that box is wrecked. Never mind. Don't mind me just flopping around the garage. Boy. Alright, well, I'm not quite sure how we're going to do this, but frame pieces. It's down while I go through this. This is what I was talking about earlier. Two different pieces. This one was on the bamboo. This one was on my machine. Much cleaner that came out. And I think that was Cura for some reason. I was getting these same artifacts in those little boxes I was making, and then when I switched to Orca Slicer, parts came out much better. So I'm not sure what the deal there is. Slacking, Cura. Go into my extras box. That's all toolhead stuff. Most of the printed parts for this are pieces of frame. All of this stuff is frame. Guess I'll just get some bags out for now. What we'll use. All right, frame parts. These are also frame parts. These are also frame parts. That we're not going to use. Part of the stealth burner that I was making that I decided not to go with. We got some electronics mounting parts. Don't need those right now. That's the key back. This is electronics mounting. This is electronics. All right, that. One. Stealth burner. We're gonna need these before too much longer. We're gonna need these before too much longer. That's stealth burner. There's the other one of those guys. All right, so this stuff I'm gonna kind of keep off to the side for a moment here. Yeah, I know. It's wild. I was not expecting that at all. You'd think that slicers would, pretty much operate the same. All right, let's get my frame back out here. And we get M3x8. Hardware kit back out. Haven't made the skip over to Orca yet. Will be soon. Well, Orca should be extremely similar to Bamboo. There should be almost no difference between Bamboo and Orca. Orca is based off of Bamboo. Orca was made so that people without Bamboo printers, yeah, yep. All right, so I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I need 16 of these guys. Dump some in the little parts tray here. Oh, I need some. What does it want you to use for nuts? Did it say? I was learning some tips with using multicolor, and they were using the bamboo slicer, so I went with it while tinkering with the AMS. Saw a bit about Orca, and it's the same almost, yeah. Alright, well this doesn't say... Oh, I guess I'm using hammer nuts, because those are the only M3s that I... Alright, so these are hammer nuts. I'll dump some out and I'll show you. So the nuts I used at the beginning were this style. Ones that I'm using now are this style. So these are meant to go into the groove like that, and then as you tighten them, they're supposed to spin and lock in place. These are kind of tricky to make work. I don't know if you can see this. Putting it in with the nut oriented up and down. Then we're gonna slide it in, go up into place. And I try and spin these quick, and it tends to help lock them in place. Yeah, like that. I'll do that with the other set. Well, and I think I'm probably just going to get these guys started at the same time. And just let them kind of sit at the bottom, and we'll bring them up into place as time goes on. Now this is the tricky part, because I've got to preload these with those hammer nuts. And if you look at, go back to this for a second. If you look at this, they put these in, it looks like every other. So we are safe to put these pins in one of the unpopulated areas. The second one down for both of these. And then center 2, I believe, are empty. Now we need hammer nuts. And then to put these in place, oh, I got one more. One more hammer nut I got to install. Put these in place, we got to make sure these are all going up and down. And then we're going to slide it into the channel. Slide it up into that guy. And hopefully can get these all to lock in place. Now, I'm only kind of snugging these up. This guy I can tighten all the way up. But these guys I only want just kind of in their place because we got to move them around a little. So I can move that rail. I don't know if you can see that very well, but still can't see it. The rail wiggles. And the reason I want that rail to wiggle is because we need to center it on the extrusion. So I've got these little printed guys that will center the rail for me. You don't need this many, I just have a bunch of these, so I'm just going to throw them on for extra insurance. Wow, why do I have so many of these? Holy moly. You definitely don't need this many of these. Need these though. So hopefully what that does is make this centered on that extrusion. And we're going to go through and check this later, but for right now, that should get us pretty close. We'll snug these up. Don't want it to move. Like I said, we're going to come back and check this in a little bit, but That's not the right size. 2.5. Now the other side. Get another rail loaded. All right, hammer nuts are loaded. Get them all going the correct direction. Put it down in the groove, all the way up. Oops, if I use the right driver. All right. Now we'll just make sure this can wiggle. Put our locks in. I don't actually remember if I tightened this one, so let me check that. Oh, and I did not. All right. Should be pretty well locked down now. What are we doing next? All right, same thing for the y-axis. This is exactly the same as the z-axis. I don't know where we're supposed to position these yet, so I'm just going to snug them up. Just so they don't move around until I figure out where they got to go. And same deal, we're just gonna snug them up until I know where we gotta put them. All right, back to the computer. Now we need, wow, panels are ready. No. We gotta locate the rails. How do I know where I'm supposed to put the rails? Did I miss something? All right, well, let me run to my switch wire. All right, those come, it looks like they come right to the... Yeah. All right, so they come all the way forward to the end. So let's do that before we move on. We'll get them centered and we'll get them all the way at the end there. And then I have to show you what I'm doing. I have different two little pieces printed. That locate them on this type of extrusion. Push that right to the end. There we go. Now the other side. It's a little loose so we can move them around. Slide that forward to the end. Put our locators on. That should get us pretty close. Again, I think we're going to adjust these once we get them constrained. And by that, I mean once there's something linking the two of them together, we're going to run them back and forth while they're a little loose and let them kind of normalize. For now, this should get us pretty close. Get a paper towel and wipe these down a little bit. There's still a little bit of excess grease on all this stuff. Just doing this so I don't get grease all over everything. I don't mind a little bit of extra on there, but making my fingers slimy. Stop that from happening. All right, now let's see what we're doing next. Got the Y carriage on, or Y rails. Now we're looking for the bottom panels. All right. Well, they were all the way in the bottom of this box. It's going to be a little awkward. None of those are bottom panels. Oh, there they are. Deck plates. Are these held in with anything? Yes. All right, we will get these peeled. And then it says one of them is different. This one is different. So I believe this one is going to go this. I haven't done any of my heat set inserts yet. So we'll put these pieces in place, but I'm not going to torque them down. Because I kind of wanted to do my heat set inserts on screen. Always see. Not that there's a lot to see, it's kind of boring, but there we go. Gonna go just the opposite. So this. We got this guy here goes back here. I think I'm done with these screws for a minute, so I'm gonna put them away. Space currently is at a premium. We need M5 by 10. Looks like 3 of them. I like this hardware. It's like black chrome. Pretty nice. You buy this stuff in bulk, it's either a black oxide industrial finish or stainless steel. 3 of these little silicone gaskets. These are kind of nice. I've not used these on other builds, so I always just put washers here. And I'm gonna need some of these guys, I'm assuming. Actually, it doesn't say what to use in the instructions here. And then after this, I'm gonna have to start some heat set inserts. It's really strange it doesn't call out which hardware to use. These instructions need a little bit of help. Autofocus isn't liking this tall printer underneath of it very much. I'm just kind of running these into place, not really tightening them yet. Because I don't know how they want it aligned. Yep, now it's time for some heat set insert. So let's put this hardware kit away. We will set this guy off to the side. That's not really gonna sit up there very well. All right, we'll just set that over there and try not to bump it. Now we got to get my soldering iron fired up here. Let's start warming up. And we're gonna press a whole bunch of heat set inserts. There's 120 of them in there. I don't know if we're gonna use them all, but we're certainly gonna use a bunch of them. all the way up at the beginning of this document, there was a giant list of all the parts that needed heat set insert. So we're just gonna do them all. Alright, so first up looks like this guy. I'm also zoom in here, because why not? Hope you guys can see that all right. Getting warm. So the first part is this one. Tweezers here. Get one right there. And one right there. Yeah, time for the press thingy. We got a whole bunch of these to do, so I hope you're ready for some riveting content here. You want to go till they're just flush with the surface. I'll show you in a second, close up. Let's focus. There we go. Now they're just, this one might need to go a little bit more. You just want them flush with the surface. If you press them in too far, when you tighten down the screw, it's going to want to pull them out. And if you don't press them in far enough, the pieces aren't going to, they're not going to stick together. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but while they're hot, I like to push them down onto the desk. And that will help to push them in all the way, and then also cool them off so you can touch them. And then it looks like we get 2 more heat set inserts on this face. There. Now you can definitely do this with just a soldering iron. You don't need a fancy press thing. The nice thing about the fancy press thing is that it holds it for you, so you can just kind of let go and it'll hold it in place. You don't have to worry about burning anything on your bench while you're using it. It also frees up your hands for manipulating the part. Go in a little bit further. Well, you can order the parts on Amazon. You need a door closer or a key back. There's this thing in the back here. You need the cheapest soldering iron you can find. You need a linear rail. couple bearings, and the heat press adapters. All right, one part down. Now we have this guy. Needs 2 inserts in it. Yeah, knowing somebody helps as well. If you check out the stream from, I don't know, it was probably a month ago or so, my inaugural stream here, you can watch me build this thing. Now this cheapest soldering iron I can find, I think was $8 or $7 or whatever. And it just so happens to have a gauge on the side of it, a display here, tell me what the temperature is. Now I don't know how accurate it is. You don't want one without temperature control because you'll just burn your plastic up. But I've got it set here to 250, which is roundabouts what you're going to be printing ABS at. So. Got these 2 little blocks. Each get 2 inserts. We're just going to knock all of the rest of these inserts out. Or most of them. There's probably going to be a few more pieces for the tool head that'll have to do once we get that far, but I got a giant pile of heat set inserts, I got a giant pile of parts, and I got a list of what it wants me to press where, so we're just going to do it. And like I said when we started, the Enderwire kit isn't the best printer in the world. It's a fine printer. I have a lot of luck with it. But part of the reason to do this is for the experience of doing it. It's a fun project. I have a lot of fun building these. It is my favorite thing to do with 3D printers. So just take your time and enjoy the process. Every single one of these machines that I've built, I've had an absolute blast with. When I bought my first Voron kit, that V0, I had so much fun that I just marathoned it. I could not put it down. Built that entire printer over the course of a weekend. That's my first project. And supposedly those V0s aren't that easy to build. People don't recommend them as your first printer because they're so small and fiddly. Now we got the Y motor. Like their heat set inserts on the backs here. Do those. Now there's also a thing that I'm going to do It's not in these instructions. That is, I'm going to take a little nail file and just kind of go over the printed mating surfaces to make sure that they're flat. Like I mentioned when we were talking about changing, when I just changed to Orca Slicer last night, I had printed all of these parts in Cura and wasn't super happy with the surface finish I was getting. I was getting a lot of uneven layer lines. So, yeah. Now the next piece is, like we have 2 in the bottom there. I think my wife should be home soon, so I might have to take a quick break and say hi to her. Now, if I get a free minute, I'm going to try and chop this stream up into some videos. I don't love editing videos, but I think there's probably some good information here for people. This guy gets 2 heat set inserts. And you get a heat set insert, and you get a heat set insert. Oh no, that's not good. We got stuck. I'm not super concerned with this because this just holds the cable chain for the Z-axis. But if this was a structural component, I would probably reprint it because that hole's probably toast. Then we have our little shock blocker. This guy here gets a heat set insert. And these 2 guys like 2 here, 2 here. Oh, speaking of my wife, she is calling me. Guess I'll have to bear with me for just a minute. I'll be right back. Alright, sorry about that. My wife is on her way home from yoga class. Go to dinner tonight. Gonna come home and take a shower. Probably gonna take a break. We're gonna go to dinner. And then I'll be back to work on this more tonight. Iconic Fab is the designer of this Heatset insert press. If you would like to check it out, member of the Voron Discord. Got this one. This one? That doesn't look. I printed the wrong piece. Careful. No. I'll have to get that going. All right, well, I think I'm actually gonna call this here. I'm gonna get the rest of this stuff knocked out off stream because this isn't very fun to watch, and go to dinner with my wife, and then I will be back later on to finish this. So I appreciate everybody who popped in, said hi, thank you. Come back later. Thanks.